Hi, this is Vishnu Bairoju, and this is going to be a video of my preparation for the occupational English test. So before we begin, why do we have to take the occupational English test? So I am preparing for the upcoming March, which is 2023, and one of the requirements is the occupational English test, no matter what pathway you choose. You might be pathway 1, pathway 6, it does not matter. You still have to take this test so that you can prove your English language competency to ECFMG. So, okay, so how much do you have to pay for this test? $455. And what does the test look like? It has 4 sections. You have reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And each of them goes for about close to 50 minutes or an hour long, depending on your testing conditions, depending on the site that you're taking your test. And in a lot of respects, it's very similar to your TOEFL exam if you have taken that, in a sense that you're still speaking, or you're still reading, you're still writing, you're still listening, except that it's in a medical context. So instead of you reading a paragraph about, let's say, squirrels for the TOEFL, you're going to read a paragraph about liver transplantation, let's say, for the OET. It's just that much of a difference, except in a few sections which we're going to cover up. I took my test in Bangalore, which is my neighboring city, and that was a long story. But I had to take it on paper, which was a little cumbersome because now I got really used to computers in the United States. So I would advise you to pick wisely. Pick computer if you're comfortable with that, and if you're very comfortable with handwriting, do that. Just don't do the opposite, because it might cause you to fail, and if that happens, you might have to retake the test, which is not ideal because it doesn't make any difference except that it's a nuance and you don't want to keep taking a simple exam again and again. The reading section involves you to read paragraphs and then answer the questions that they have, which is pretty basic, if I may say. The listening section is where you need to be a little careful because you can only listen to that section once. So let's say you think about something else during that time and it's gone. And if you do this repeatedly, you might just fail that section. So mindfulness is the key for the listening section. And writing section is where I had a lot of trouble because I was handwriting after a very long time, and my handwriting turned from really good to really horrible. So I had to erase and redo and rewrite, and I thought I would fail the test, but thankfully I did not. Writing section involves you to write a letter to someone, like let's say you're a doctor in charge of this hospital and you're shifting this patient somewhere, and you would just write down a note, this is so and so, this is so and so, and you just have to do it effectively. That is the whole thing about. And speaking section, if you're taking OET medicine on paper, involves you to speak to someone that's in front of you, except that there's going to be a recorder, and this recording is going to be sent somewhere to analyze. So you don't actually have to make yourself awkward talking to a recorder directly. There's going to be someone that is going to act like your patient, and you're going to have these 2 little role play cards that you're going to enact, and just make sure you're doing a good job of that. In terms of the resources, I would say YouTube has a good number of videos by the official OET website and by a website called E2 Test Prep, which do a great job, I must say, in helping you prepare for this test. So what I would advise you is, whenever you're thinking of taking this test, first book it, because you'll at least have 15 days of time before you take the test, which is a lot of time, to be honest. And start off with a practice test, right? Just do all the 4 sections one by one, take 4 hours, and just do all the 4 sections one after the other, and make sure you see which one is which is the one that you're having a lot of trouble with, and that is the one that you need to focus on when you're taking your practice, or when you're on YouTube, or when you're on your E2 test prep. If you need additional help, you can, I don't know, try subscribing for E2 Prep. I mean, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they might turn out useful. So here are some tips for the OET. Make sure you have your breakfast before you go, because this test, although not as long as your USMLEs, is still long. It can go up to 4 or 5 hours, and you might or might not like the lunch that they provide at the venue. Tip number 2, apply as early as possible. Apply as soon as you get a chance to, and get this out of your way, because you don't want to be stuck with this test, of course. Tip number 3, focus on the what do you call that? Focus on what is giving you a lot of trouble, instead of doing the ones that you do really well. For example, focus on writing if that is your weakness. Focus on listening if that is your weakness. And tip number 4, don't take this test lightly, because even though you might be really good with your language skills, it might not be worth it to just go and just give it a shot like that. Please do prepare. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below and I'll respond. Thank you.